What can I do for you?
Jo. Co ona má? Má healování. Shit, tohle cool. Tohle kupuju. A tady zahodíme ty obyčejné věci. Že bych zkusil 2 kudly? Ne. Ne. Měl bychom být psych. Jo. Super. No, říkala směrem doleva, že jo? Pamatuju si to dobře, doufám.
Godlike. Interested in saving a couple of lives? So, you're that godlike, the Adiran envoy. You're the one who saves the ambassador from the strangle route, right?
Tak co chceš?
I'm just trying to help some friends of mine. They're Adirans, but they've had a string of bad luck. Is there any chance you could lend them a hand? I know this is strange, but they're in a rough situation and, well, to be honest, they helped me out a while back when I needed it. I'm just trying to return the favor.
Dobře, tak s čím potřebují tvoji kamarádi pomoct?
Galarde. Lofled and Gladwine came here about 8 years ago, long before the recent rush of adherents. They admitted to having a checkered past back home, but they started a new life in Paradis. Back then you'd struggle to find an adherent in the city. Now they're everywhere.
No tak, císař se snažil, aby tady lidi žili, že jo?
That's all very well for His Highness, but it was trouble for my friends. Anyway, with all these adherents coming in, Lofled and Gladwine started spotting old faces. And if they were spotting old faces, it was only a matter of time before those faces started spotting them back.
Jasně.
They're lying low in the shanty town for now, but they mean to leave for Thirdborn.
Adherents in the shanty town? I doubt they're getting a warm welcome. Most of the people there are Paradisans run out by Adir.
They're afraid to go out in public, and Gladwine, poor soul, he's gone blind from bad drink.
Takže metanol si dal. Já se chci podívat tady na jednu věc, a to je Thirdborn. Is the main settlement in the Shatterscarp region of the Living Land. It is primarily occupied by Ruatayan expatriates, sailors, soldiers, explorers and merchants. Okay.
But you can. There are herbs in the wilds around Paradis that can restore Gladwine's sight.
Můžeme vylečit, aby
It's a
viděl.
little too dangerous for us ordinary folks, but for the Adiran envoy, for the hero who braved the strangle route, I'm sure it will be no problem.
Ending with flattery is a nice touch.
Agrasima.
Jaký to nutil, aby... Okay, pojď na to.
Many thanks, envoy. Oh, there is one more thing they need. Land deeds. They've already paid for them. There's a Rawatayan in the Pearl District, Mako, who was handling the paperwork. I don't know. That's the problem. Mako and I had a falling out a while back. It's best if someone else goes. Thank you, envoy. God bless you.
Klasika CD1. Brzky ke vosku, jo, hrál. A hodněkrát. I mimo stream, i na streamu. Dost mě to nebavilo. Dokonce jednou jsem se tady hrozně nasral. Teď už mě to docela baví díky dvojce. Jsem tomu našel vztah. Mluví jako Pellegrini, já přesně tak. Mluví jako Pellegrini, nebo jak se správně čte, ale Agrasima. Taky mi to hezky tak jako útočí na moji Pillars of Eternity nostalgii. Já si tady asi dám žurnál. Na toho watchera teda teďko. Jdem k ambasadorovi. Já začnu barvit RPG hry, tak to jsi tady velice správně. Já vlastně tady hraju skoro výhradně RPG hry. Vždycky jsem hrál, už od malička. Tak je to tím, že jsem hrál hlavně stolní RPG hry, takže jakoby ty počítačovými, co si budem, simulovali třeba chvíle, kdy jsem neměl zrovna jako s kamarádama čas. A zároveň třeba sloužili dost často Baldur's Gate, že? A tak mi sloužili jako inspirace a jako Game Mastera. Tyhle, to je to tagovaný cool.
You died, but you're here. God's.
Tak ten je teda sus jak svině, nevěřím ti ani hovno, kámo. A dobře, pokecáme, pojď.
You've got some god looking out for you.
To nejde víc, okay.
None of the clerks believe my story.
Jak se jmenovala taková ta superová gilda v jedničce a dvojce, takový ty bylo, protože se mi strašně líbilo, že byly vlastně watchři, který mohli vidět podle předmětu, co se děje, jakoby. A tak vznikla jako taková liga detektivů, který prostě vždycky každýho odhalili, protože to bylo strašně easy, že díky jim schopnostem. Tam přišel úplně super nápad. Cartographer's Guild Volume 1. Long has the renowned Cartographer's Guild served the Emperor and Queen of Aedir. It is we who are responsible for the creation and distribution of the many maps throughout the Empire. Whether to direct travelers throughout the expanse that is Aedir, guide ship captains on their voyages throughout Aurora, or simply adorn the walls of an aristocrat's home, one can rest assured that the Cartographer's Guild is behind the creation of every one of these works of art. For over 2 centuries, since the noble expedition corps discovered the Eastern Reach, have we worked and labored to keep all of the Empire and her colonies supplied with accurate, high-quality maps. God's willing, we will continue to do so for centuries yet to come.
Envoy, hello. I'm glad to see you on your feet. Kai.
Tej.
I'm surprised they let you in here.
I'm surprised you're still gainfully employed.
Ti dva se určitě milujou. Vy se znáte navzájem. Dunrická síť, jo, tam přišel úplně strašně dobrý nápad. To film, jako, bylo jich vícero, ale byly tam takovýhle nápady typu Dunrická síť, kdy když jsem to hrál poprvé, tak jsem dělal úplně, jakože to hrozně bavilo, jak je to promakaný ten svět.
I wouldn't say that. He's just curious company for you to keep.
To je super, že my se postupně budeme dozvídat i hodně o těch kompanionech. Teď máme jenom jednoho. A Prey, to jsem jako nějaký recenze, to je jedna z nejzábavnějších věcí na té hře, což je klasicky obsidianský, že jo, ale...
Yes, ma'am. How can I help you?
Chci rozumět víc Paradisu.
What would you like to know?
Kdy bylo založeno?
If you're looking for a particular year, the first thing you should know about Paradise is that this isn't the kind of place where the locals keep records. And though it might be considered a distant backwater by the rest of the world, this city is the height of civilization by the standards of the living lands. As for who calls this place home, I suspect you could find a criminal, confidence man, or prophet from every civilization in the world here.
Hey, come on. You're gonna give the envoy the wrong idea. We've got draft dodgers, courtesans, and revolutionaries too. You know, all the fun people.
In any event, as far as I can tell, Paradise has been this way since its inception. Thus the eclectic display of architectural styles. If nothing else, this city is a reflection of the countless people who have passed through it on their way to the interior.
Okay. New York prostě.
Depends on who you ask. Ambassador Heelgard will tell you that our remit here is to establish a secure and orderly environment from which to engage in trade. Inquisitor Liudwin will tell you we're here to break the frontier.
So, which is it?
Why not both?
Nic tady neslyším zatím o tom Dream Scourge, co tady jsem přišla řešit.
That's where you come in. Whether you find your desires aligning with the ambassadors or the inquisitors, neither can succeed until the Dream Scourge is ended. We are only beginning to see its effects here in Dawnshore, but the closer to the center of the island you go, the worse it gets.
Nice. Takže čím dál
That bear
půjdeme,
you and the
větší.
ambassador encountered in the Strangle route isn't even the worst of it. And the tide of this soul plague is rising higher every day. Look, for all that I complain about this backwater, there are good people here. Same as anywhere else. People who want to be able to walk to the market in the morning for their bread and eggs and know they won't be mugged. People who like it when the mail comes on time and their skates are made from real copper and their neighborhood peeping Tom ends up in the stocks. Those people, good and honest people, who pay their debts and honor their contracts and remember to thank the gods, they like us a lot.
Přijde mi fakt hrozná škoda, že tahle hra je strašně dobrá, má jenom hrozně blbý načasování. S tím, že je vlastně 14 dnů po Kingdom Come. Budu bedlivě sledovat vlastně jako i čísla. A hrozně bych přál Obsidianu, aby to bylo úspěšný. Vlastně nevím, kolik se teď prodalo. To se dá někde zjistit, že jo? Nemůžete to zjistit?
The Resistance, as such, are largely a group of misfits and criminals intent on undermining the rule of law. They take out loans with small Aderan banking houses and do not pay them, then assault the bankers who attempt to collect. They agree to contracts with families in Adir seeking homes, and when their ships arrive, promptly abandon them. When we levy a small tax to fund the repair of city roads, they set our counting house on fire. And when our fishermen return to port, they board their ships and sink them.
That's certainly one way to characterize them. It's not exactly wrong, but it's not exactly right either.
For decades, people like them ruled this city through fear. We imposed order, and now they oppose us. You, unfortunately, were caught in the crossfire.
Takže máme tady nějaký jako odpor, který jim tady furt všechno kurví, i když se snaží dělat dobré věci. Říká on ale, jo, takže to musíme brát s rezervou. A bohužel my jsme prostě vlezli ve špatnou chvíli, prostě na špatné místo.
I'm an open book. There's a lot of ground to cover. Could you be more specific?
Se vám nevadí, tak já ho jako prokecnu, mě to všechno zajímá, ten lore, jo, takže teď budeme chvíličku poslouchat. Takže pardon. How do the living lands and Adir compare on a map? Jo, jak je living lands velký oproti Adiru?
The age-old question. Who's bigger? Adir is, naturally, by a wide margin. And were we at the Cartographer's Guild in High Crown, I could show you on one of their globes. As it is, we must make do in the theater of our minds.
A jak je daleko od Adiru?
The living lands are located in the far north of Aora. Adir is southwest of the living lands, situated along the equator.
Okay. A co počasí a terén?
The living lands are more arid than Adir, and the island is more prone to storms. But its many deep valleys protect the various townships from the worst of the weather.
Ale bouřku nebo než jsme zatím nezažili, že jo, co to tady myslím?
Deep inland, mountains rise high enough to rival those of the White March, blanketed year-round in snow. While east of the volcano of Mount Forja is an acid sea that sinks far below the level of the ocean. The lands between them are riven with deep clefts in the earth and isolated by wastelands of sun-baked sand dunes.
To máme vlastně všechno. OK, logicky, aby to bylo zábavný, že jo. Máme tady pouště, budeme tady mít kyselnový jezírka a budeme tady mít i sníh, miláčci.
I'll share what I can. There is no singular authority in the living lands.
Kdo to tady vede, se ptám.
Not yet, anyway.
I shudder to think what the living lands would look like under your rule.
Well, to start, there'd be a lot more brothels.
Charming. Power is invested in the leaders of the various townships scattered across the island. The largest are Fjord, Thirdborn, and Solace. None of which, I will note, are as safe and orderly as Paradise.
Takže to tady hrozně rozdělený. Vlastně tady máme šéfy jednotlivých vesnic. Pro AVOWED to ještě nejsou čísla na Steamu. Děkuju. No tak to je vlastně dneska to vyšle. Díky moc, jsem blbec. No, nejsem blbec, ale prostě jsem zapomněl.
Fiume Severno is located in a valley known locally as the Emerald Stair, named for the terraced rice paddies that cover its hillsides. It is our closest neighbor. The city, if you can call it that, was founded 50 years ago by animancers from the Valian republics. Apparently, the laws governing animancy weren't lenient enough in the republics. So the city's founders came to the living lands, where they could practice their discipline more freely. Currently, Fjord is governed by a man named Ignacy Vidaro. Rather inept to hear the ambassador talk about him. Fjord's farmers supply most of the grain and vegetables we eat here in Paradise. Or it did. Their shipments have been infrequent lately.
Yes.
Something about a blight in the fields. In any event, I believe that covers Fjord.
To je cool. A chápu už ten design. Oni prostě vymysleli něco jako maličkou Austrálii, kam všechny státy, co vlastně vymysleli v tom lóru, jako různý vyvrhoval a podobně, tak tam prostě odpluli. Tím pádem si zajistili i to, že tam můžou narvat vlastně všechno z toho lóru na malou plochu, poměrně malou plochu, a pořád to dává jakoby smysl.
The Valian republics are a collection of city-states in the Eastern Reach, southeast of our former colony, the Deerwood. The republics began life as colonies of the Grand Empire of Valia, hence the name. But as Grand Valia's economy collapsed, well, the colonies saw an opportunity to escape the influence of the Empire of Origin, and they seceded, much as the Deerwood did from Adir. Now a mature confederation in their own right, the republics have recently indulged their own expansionist ambitions in the Deadfire Archipelago. Through their merchants in the Valian Trading Company, the republics will sell you anything you could ever wish to buy.
Up to and including people.
We should count ourselves lucky they've had no interest in the living lands. In a struggle between our emperor and the republic's great dukes, well, I doubt we would come out on top. But if anyone asks, I was not the one who told you that.
Okay. Tak, co to Thirdborn? O tom jsme teď už jednou slyšeli vlastně.
Everything you need to know about Thirdborn is in its name. It was founded by the third-born children of Rawatai, Navy dropouts, smugglers, and hands for hire. Almawa and Orleans, mostly.
Home sweet home.
Jasně.
You're free to go back any time you like.
I like my current circumstances just fine, thanks.
They are a people, in short, who couldn't cut it in the civilized world and had to make room on the margins. Unfortunately, they are currently besieged by the Dream Scourge. We have sent some troops to lend what help we can, and the mayor, Temerity, was appropriately grateful, but I don't know how long they'll hold out.
OK, takže tam máme jeden stát, respektive jednu tu část a jednu vesnici, která má problém, že tam mají nákazu a tím pádem nemůžou nám poskytovat dál jídlo. Pak máme druhou teďko a to je problém, že jsou celý obklopení tím Dream Scourge, takže to taky musíme určitě nějak promáknout.
Rawatai is one of the old empires, every bit as storied as Grand Valia or our native Adir. If Adir is to the southwest of the living lands, Rawatai is to the southeast. And unlike our home, their small continent is racked by terrible storms. This is due, or rather, was due, to the island's proximity to Andra's mortar, the unending super hurricane that once hid the ancient city of Ukaizo. Rawatai is largely peopled by Almawa, descended from those who fled the Deadfire Archipelago centuries ago, when Andra pulled the moon, Ioni Brather, into the sea. They are an aggressive, militant culture, and personally I find their obsession with gunpowder rather quaint. They're also our chief rivals on the world stage.
I don't think they see it that way.
No?
Well, as far as Navy brass is concerned, Adir doesn't really rate.
Now you're just making things up.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but we don't think about you at all.
Jo, takže opět stejný vtípek jako co se říkají Pražáci o Brně. Nic. Chápu. Ta postava je tak gay, se si cítím k ní okamžitou zpřízněnost. Nepoznám, takže jako... Teď až když to řekl zpětně, tak asi vlastně jo. Kuriózní je quaint. Děkuju moc krát, Siverne. Tak Solis je to poslední vesnice?
What is there to say, really?
Yeah, they tend to have that effect on people.
The trouble is, I don't know much about Solace. Nobody does. They are an isolationist community of Pargrunan dwarves who live in the forbidding ways of Galawain's tusks. They don't let outsiders into their lands, and they don't let their people out of them.
Some folks get out from time to time, but they can't ever go back. And the ones who survive aren't eager to talk about their experiences.
People aside, the land itself is incredibly hostile. The island's volcano, Mount Forja, rests at the heart of the region, and it's recently become active. Half the land is lava rock, and the other half is, well, literally lava. I don't know why anyone lives there. I have to assume they're all insane.
You have no idea.
Naturally. The Pargrunan are a unique community of mountain dwarves originating in Old Valia.
Ta Pargunen
As a
to byla
people,
i ta
they've made their name as explorers, builders, miners. No doubt you've seen their ruins in your travels. Here, back home in Adir, and all across the world. They maintain a rich tradition of oral storytelling, chanted magics, and ritual carving, which they take great pains to record and transmit across their various communities. Even the most physically isolated Pargrun is not alone. Somewhere, one of their people is thinking of them and planning an expedition. Abidan must cherish them.
You sound like you admire them.
I suppose I do.
Abidan. Abidan is the god of golems, machines, industry, strength, hope and aspiration. What? To vůbec neznám. He is favored by blacksmith who avoid conflicts but whose labors perpetuated. Legends tell of his death, rebirth and transformation to the details. Okay. To jsem chtěl. Okay.
By all means.
Já se v tom úplně ztrácím, je to fakt hodně. Ne, já se vám to snažím zjednodušovat. A moc se omlouvám, že to takhle teď jako komplikuju hned na začátku, jo, ale je to prostě jako velký ostrov a teď zjišťujeme, že tam je jako 3-4 vesnice a vlastně jedna vesnice štyk je, nevíme o ní nic, je záhadná, jsou tam záhadní trpaslíci, nevíme, láva a prostě sopka. Druhá je, jsou tam nekromani, ale mají spousty polí a ty najednou mají nákazu a tím pádem jsme v hajzlu, protože nemáme jídlo. Třetí jsem zapomněl, co byla, to bylo taky zábavný. Třetí byla, pomozte mi. To taky bavilo, co tam bylo. To byly, nevím co. To neznáš, poje jedna data, tady si nedohrál, to je pravda. Ještě furt bych chtěl dohrát.
Consider yourself lucky. Inquisitor Ludwin is the commander of the Steel Garrote in Paradise. Were you to ask her, she'd say she keeps the peace. But she doesn't keep it so much as prosecute it. As ruthlessly as the ambassador will let her. She's also a veteran of the Steel Garrote's campaign in the Deathfire, where she died.
She's a Death Guard. Well, that explains a lot.
Death Guard?
I don't know what happened to her there, but I suppose Wodaka wasn't done with her yet.
Takže to samý co my? Ona taky asi přežila. Death Guard are strong-willed individuals who refuse to die. They cling to life by maintaining a deep connection to some unresolved personal crusade, often tied to their fate. Rare and terrifying Death Guards are some of Era's most brutal and uncompromising villains. A tady ona jako šéfka, OK. Jenže ty neznáš, ty znáš ten svět, jak to přijde souvislé. Ptejte se mě. Já když tak, a je tady Šorevek, který zná ten svět ještě mnohem lépe víc než já. Pokud teda samozřejmě chcete. A já vám moc rád odpovím, nebo vám pomůžu. Jakoby, že má to být tak, že já vás do toho světa chci ideálně uvést, že? Protože mám pocit, že fakt stojí za to. Tak, jaká byla teda ta Lodwin, která teď tady šéfuje vlastně jako zákonu, co chápu, předtím, než se stala Deathguard, to znamená předtím, než umřela, ale vlastně neumřela, protože si řekla, že zůstane naživu.
I only met her once.
Jako fax. Jo.
She was a mid-level member of the Steel Garrote then, chasing Oathbreakers who'd fled a Deeren law. She'd come back to the Imperial Archives to borrow a map to a place called Oathbinder's Sanctum. I remember she was furious because the map was quite poor. She worried about finding the place, about properly executing her duty to her god. She wanted, I think, to do a good job. So, while clearly she has changed, in some sense, I'd say she's much the same.
Nikdy jsem nepotkala Deathguard. Myslel jsem si, že to jsou jenom jako pohádky.
Death Guards are surpassingly rare. Some of the secretaries who traveled without dignitaries in the Deadfire spoke of one named Iser, a devotee of Berith, who guards the hanging sepulchres there. But I've heard of no others except those I've read about in the histories, or, as you say, in stories. They are people, most often paladins or priests, so devoted to a cause that they simply refuse to pass on to the wheel when they die.
Když je vaše víra tak
Their
velká v
soul
něco,
haunts their
tak
body.
prostě nechcípnete.
The passion required to sustain them devours their flesh, and they swiftly turn to bone. I've never read a history nor tale of a death guard that did not end with them going quite mad. When they lose their capacity to care for anything but their cause, they cannot love. And when they cannot love, they cannot be merciful. And so everything before them becomes only an obstacle.
Jo, a proto jste si ji teda zvolili tady, jakože vám tady bude velet, to je skvělý. To přijde jak svět Warhammer 40k, když nemáš paměti, tak se v tom úplně ztratíš. Já si myslím, že tady ta hra se tě fakt snaží vést postupně, možná trošičku problém v tom, jak je to anglicky, si verne. Má to když tak češtinu, ale AIčkovou, teoreticky, kdybyste chtěli. Myslím si, že když je to dobře udělaná hra, jako třeba i tohle, tak jako ztrácím se maličko a já, ale jakoby baví mě to, takže je to takový to, jenom jestli to znáš, když ti třeba někdo něco vykládá a ty tomu jako rozumíš jako ze 70%, ale nevadí ti to, že to zatím nechytáš všechno, ale postupně to nasákáváš a postupně se to zorientováváš víc a víc a víš, že to je jako progres, nějaký jako proces, tak jsem chtěl spíš říct než progres. A pak i progres teda. A to se mě samý i se Warhammerem. Myslím si, že třeba taky Rogue Trader je strašně jako napěchovaný lorem, ale ta hra taky docela dost dobře to dělá, takže ti to fakt všechno vysvětluje postupně, ale je to hafec. Ale rozumím, no.
Think upon your promises and die. That's the litany of the Steel Garrote, usually said right before they kill you. They're an order of paladins born and bred in Adir, though clearly they've found plenty of work beyond our borders. Their remit is simple but comprehensive. They punish all who break their oaths. In practice, that has historically meant contracts. One lord or merchant will hire the Steel Garrote to bring a duplicitous rival to justice.
Fun bunch. What are they doing in Paradise?
Since the events in the Deadfire, their operations have expanded. The Steel Garrote has always been associated with Wodaka. Now, they are explicitly her order. And they go wherever Wodaka's priests, or Wodaka herself, believes there is a need for them to go. The Living Lands are a dangerous, lawless frontier in sore need of order. Thus, they are here. Or so the Steel Garrote say.
OK. Takže to jsou paladinové, kteří řeší, když něco slíbíte, dáte slib a nedodržíte ho, tak vás jdou sundat. Takže když třeba řeknete svý dceři, že jí zítra dáte sladkost a zapomenete na to, nedáte jí ho, tak přijdou, seknou vám hlavu.
Do you think so? I've always found her inflexibility comforting. Wodaka's edicts are clear. If you obey her laws, pursue justice, punish the guilty, and give fealty to the Emperor. Then you have pleased her, and I aim to please. But Vodka does not trust. She demands that you declare yourself for her again and again. Her every request is a test, and her every test is an opportunity to disappoint her. I appreciate a god who makes you work for their grace.
Chápu, takže to je spíš
I don't want
starozákonní
anything
bůh
given
než
to me for
novozákonní
free.
bůh Vodika. Že jo, jestli tomu dobře rozumím, Šarovehu. Takže svět, kde nestrašíš děti bubákama, ale paladinama, ano. Ne, právě, že kde děti straší dospělí, když jim nesplní slib, tak děti straší dospělí paladinama. Jo, dokonce ve dvojce můžeš hrát za takového paladina. Aha, tak to jsem asi myslel. Super, děkuju. Za styl Geralt, jako. Jsem nevěděl. Paráda.
Of course.
A měl bych se tady setkat s Watcherem, ale nic o nich nevím. Co vám tím můžu říct? A za Watchera hrajete v jedničce a v dvojce, čete mimochodem.
I trust whomever told you to consult a watcher also told you to avoid the one in the city. She is a liar and a thief.
Oh, did you take your money?
No. Anyway, watchers are individuals capable of perceiving souls.
Vidí duše.
The soul may be in a living body, or it may simply be lingering, waiting to pass into the in-between. In either case, interacting with a soul allows a watcher to glimpse a person's past lives or their most deeply buried memories. Watchers are incredibly rare, and in Adir, highly controlled. Many people wish to know who they were in a previous life, and do not like what they learn.
Nice. Takže Watchři vidí duše a díky tomu vidí dost často to, co si ta duše pamatuje těsně jako po smrti, co pro ní bylo důležité. Díky tomu právě můžou být třeba skvělí detektivové a vy to využíváte v jedničce a v dvojce jako takové jako vlastně vaší superpower, co dost často. A co je cool, že oni vidí i vaše předchozí životy. A v jedničce se s tím třeba hraje hrozně moc, vlastně ve dvojce, ale v jedničce víc. Že pak vidíte fakt jako tu duši, jak vlastně se reinkarnovala, protože to je to na té reinkarnaci vlastně celý založený. Ano, zhruba je to starozákonní Jahve než novozákonní otec. Ano, jenom bez zjednodušení, právě přesně. Dobré. Co se stalo s Watcherem v Adiru?
The smart ones stay hidden. They do not announce their powers. Perhaps
To je
not even to
taková reklamná
themselves.
jivárna, no.
Even a careful watcher risks inadvertently revealing themselves by knowing something they shouldn't know. Of the ones that are public, little is concretely known. But we hear things. They make good judges in Vodka's courts, so long as they're controlled.
Jsou to
The
soudci.
lords, it's rumored, buy and sell them to collect blackmail on their enemies. But I suspect many watchers are imprisoned or executed, or simply kill themselves.
Jsou nebezpeční Watchři?
A watcher doesn't need your cooperation or consent to read your soul. They could learn everything about you, terribly damaging things about your parentage, for example, or things you did in a past life, without you ever knowing. You see how this could threaten the established order, undermine our betters' right to rule.
Yeah, but that's just one side to it. Imagine how a watcher feels, knowing what a threat they are to the status quo. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be keen on kings and emperors wanting me dead. Sounds like a lot of hassle.
Don't sell yourself short, Kai. I don't doubt you're an expert in people wanting you dead.
You're not wrong.
I rarely am, in any case. The Watcher is fundamentally a tragic figure. Of the few that survive our world, most are destined to go mad.
Jo, to zažíváme v jedničce, že vlastně většina z nich se, těch Watcherů, tím, že vidí ty duše, tak se postupně zblázní. Vlastně dokonce v jedničce po nějaký době hned vlastně po kousku hlavního questu, tak najdeme jednoho, který je úplně mimo. Jo, se šílí, ano. Jako z paladinů mám rád rytíře zlaté úmluvy, což jsou paladinové pronajmutí. Rytíře zlaté úmluvy jsou řádem nájemných paladinů. Věří v platbu jako formu závazné smlouvy a nestrannost považují za vysokou ctnost. A to je ta Palegrina, že jo? Ta s tím peřím, to je ona, ne? Kterou si můžeš pronajmout jako NPCčko v jedničce a v dvojce. Nepovažuji kohokoliv, kdo je k pronajmutí za nestranného, protože chudí jako vždycky nemají moc hotovosti, ano. Můžu být Watcher? Můžu se stát Watcherem?
Yes and no. So far as I understand it, a watcher is born
Se narodit
a
jako
watcher.
watcher, ale nemůžete si jim
But it takes
stát.
an event, often something shocking
Ale
or
je to nějaká věc,
traumatic, to bring a watcher's powers to the fore.
která vás jako
So you
provede
may be
tím.
a watcher, or
prostě
I
máte
may
coming
be,
out.
or Kai, and we might not even know.
Myslím, že kdokoliv z nás může být watcher jenom jako spící a pak nás to probudí. Co můžeme před chvílí? Ano, a jakoby některý watcherský tam jako hinty máme, já nevím, jestli budeme watcher tady v té hře. Jo. Vlastně by mi nevadilo, kdybychom nebyli, protože to už jsme byli v Pillars of Eternity 1 a v Pillars of Eternity 2, už jsem si užil docela dost, jakoby watcherství. Jsou nějaký známý watcheři, o kterých bych měl vědět?
Well, the Watcher of Cadnua is legendary. It was their castle Aethys destroyed when he began his campaign of terror in the Dead Fire.
Jednice a dvojce!
By the Queen, I hope I get to meet them someday. In terms of local interest, you'll have heard of Runid, of course. And there was Ida. You may not know about her. She was a watcher from the Living Lands. I believe she was
Aida,
an orphan.
musíme pamatovat, čete.
She must have died,
Ta bude určitě živá.
150 years
Já
ago.
nám to neříkal.
Slain by a great serpent, gods treat
Ne,
kindly
ona
with
je
a soul.
Fremna Smes
Doubtless there are
já
others,
překladu
but-
105 sluncí pladinský řád
Most
Děkuji.
don't meet a good end.
Takže máme tu perception větší, to si musíme vymaxovat, čte. Tak jo,
By all means.
baví mě to moc. Ty jsi sekretář ambasadora, co to dělá, jaký to je?
Well, you'll notice I'm nearly always here.
Chytré jak svině, kámo.
If that man sleeps, I don't know about it. He wouldn't say, but I believe he relied on the claviger far more than he lets on. And without the claviger's steady hand at the rudder, the ambassador's struggling just to bail water from the sinking ship that is Paradise.
Claviger Aemon might have tolerated a little more chaos than the ambassador liked, but he kept this place humming. He's not someone you can easily replace, and not with one man alone.
It's a difficult job. The pressure sometimes gets the better of him. But if he loses his temper now and then, I can't blame him for it. Better him than me.
Když nemaká.
He doesn't know what to do with himself. You know, in our first days here, he'd often walk to the end of the docks at sunrise. The work was done, the embassy was closed, and he'd still be wearing the same clothes he'd slept in at his desk. And he'd just stare out over the sea. He always seemed dissatisfied back then. I suppose, years later, he still
Líbí
does.
se mi, jak je to hodně dialogu, jakože jsem nečekal, já jsem se hrozně bál, čete, že to fakt bude takový jako, že samozřejmě to není to prostě jako izometrický RPGčko, jo, kde toho textu je milion, ale líbí se mi, že to prostě furt má docela dost textu, furt to jede hodně po loru, furt to jede docela dost do hloubky, ale střídá se to jakoby s tou akčností jakoby toho akčního RPGčka potom, když vlezu ven. Mimika při dialozích je lepší než u Starfieldu, to jo. To je upřímně lepší ještě víc i než u Kingdom Come, si myslím. A důležitý je, že třeba, myslím, že Outer Worlds to měli blbě, ne? Outer Worlds to měli prostě à la Bethesda, že měli ty ksichty jenom takhle jako na pláci zase jako a vycentrovaný. Teď už je to super, že se dívající verne, že aspoň už ta kamera tam jako mezi náma trošičku lítá, je to takový víc dynamičtější. Tebe nebaví tahle práce?
Be serious. Most of us here didn't get sent to the frontier because we were anybody's favorite. The longer I'm here, the more likely the people who matter are to forget me. And I'd actually like to get back to High Crown someday. Get married, have a few kids, take the civil exams and settle into a permanent clerkship.
I guess there are worse ways to spend a life.
Like rotting in this embassy.
Okay.
I'm an open book.
Máme to hotovo.
Should you ever need me, I will be here.
Děkuji za trpělivost, čete.
Safe travels, envoy.
Aederské zvyky. Aeder is a country rich with customs and they are known for their strict adherence to them. Their customs run the gamut from grand celebrations like the Feast of Feast to mundane superstitions such as Ways to avoid sweat addiction. This volume will focus primarily on bigger celebrations, as no one knows how to throw an extravagant party quite like Aediren. OK, takže to jsou různý pártošky, co mají Aediři, respektive svátky, jestli tomu rozumím. Feast of the feast, takže prostě pártoška všech pártošek. The biggest and most important of Aedian customs in the feast. This week long, ty vole, týden si představte, že to měli. Celebration happens the first week of Forest to deep summer and is dedicated to honoring the life of the first Ferkoning. Each day of the week is devoted to some aspect of the Ferkoning's life and there are very specific dishes to be served at each meal. Takže něco jako Velikonoce třeba. The Feast of Feast originally began as a festival celebrating the birth of the Ferkoning's first son and soon became a yearly occurrence during the week of his birthday. Currently, Aedians simply use it as an excuse for a party and pull out all the stops in an effort to outdo the previous year. And lest you wonder, as I did, which Ferkoning is honored during the Feast of Feast, it's always the current Ferkoning. For each Ferkoning is the first and only Ferkoning. Nevím, co je Ferkoning, ale OK. Sweet Treat. Halloween. Special custom that arose at some point during the feast. Sweet Treat started as a way to keep children occupied so the parents could dine in peace. While it is still used for today, significance has been added to it. Each treat is placed in a container, usually small metal boxes, and hidden somewhere on the property. After everything has been hidden, the children are sent out to find treasures. It is said now that the hidden treats represent Glanthorn artifacts and children are the explorers bringing the riches back to their new and rightful owners. OK, takže zvyk je takovej, že když potřebujete na té pártošce, co je ta velká týdenní, tak potřebujete mít klid. Tak uděláte, že vezmete sladkost, zavřete ji do kovové krabice a někam ji schováte a děti ji hledají, vy máte klid. Co je Ferkoning? Zeptáme se Šoreveho, nevíš, co je Ferkoning? Carnival of the Mask. When the original colonists for Aedir traveled to the new land to found Dirwood in the name of the Aedian Ferkoning, they encountered the Clanfanton people. The Carnival of the Mask celebrates this meeting. Originally it was merely formal reenactment as play of the tension between Clanfantons and Aedian settlers. But it has since evolved into much more than that. To je z jedničky vlastně hlavně. Participants choose sides and come dressed in elaborate outfits depicting which group they have designated to align themselves. Nice. Winter's End was never anything more than an excuse for a celebration and it hasn't changed in all the years. It has existed in Aedir, prostě Sylvester. It takes place during winter dusk and lasts all 3 days. People use the time to reflect on the year, celebrate their lives and remember the dead, especially those who have passed in the recent year. Takže něco mezi Sylvestrem a dušičkama. OK. Psych. Ferkoning, Fer je koning, First King. Díky, jsi skvělej. Abys věděl, Siverne, Šarevek překládá právě z angličtiny do češtiny Pillars of Eternity 2. To samé já budu dělat ve čtvrtek tady na streamu a budu hrát Pillars of Eternity 2 v té češtině, která ještě není dopřeložena. A hledáme právě další překladatele, já se to snažím tak jako pomoct, ne nastartovat, ale vlastně jako nakopnout k tomu finále pořádnému, takže proto Šarevek je takhle najetej. Aedir Empire Part 1, Origin, 2200 AI, co je AI? A group of the tribes called the People of the Deer unified into a new civilization called the Aedir Kingdom. The tribes, small and widespread over the land, knew it would be better for their continued existence to unify. The leaders of each tribe became advisors to the king, chosen by the group. Each advisor... teď je to tady napsaný. Promiň, Šoreveu. Kdybych držel hubu a hrál víc hru, tak už to víme. Each advisor would still be the lord over his people, but each lord would answer to the Ferkoning, First King. This decision was exactly what was needed to end the Aedian kingdom thrived, spreading across the land and establishing strong trade routes. The Aedians became known as fair but shrewd businessmen. While the country thrived and internally there was little strife, there were still the occasional skirmishes with the neighboring elven kingdom of Kulklin. Elfové tady dělají bordel v tom, OK. V podstatě titul vládce Aediru, je mi to jasný. Tak to respektive blázně, ale úžasný. Jo no. Not long after the kingdom was formed, the Aediran people began studying animancy. Aha, to je takhle starý animancie v Aediru, OK. To jsem nevěděl. Largery... A já fakt ten svět miluju prostě, takže jo no. Still largely unknown at the time, Animancy was an exciting, terrifying new realm in which adherent scholars saw great potential. This potential came to bear fruit in 2260 AI. Co je AI? Víš toho Šorovehu? When a group of Animancers working together transferred the soul of a recently departed man into another body, creating the first of what would later come to be known as the undead. Takže OK, v tuhletu dobu poprvé se podařilo Animancerům duši dát do jiného těla a tím pádem udělat nemrtvýho. The reaction to this discovery was swift and decisive. Both the king of Aedir and the Church of Voedica condemned this event and the study of or practice of Animancy was outlawed. Takže jako v jiném fantasy světě se to nesmělo dělat. Ale jsou tady části ve světě, jsou tady části v tomhletom světě, kde se animancie normálně může praktikovat. It will never again be practiced openly on Aediran soil. Conflicts with Culkin continued escalating into a minor war 2398 AI. Afterward, a treaty was signed and the kingdom of Aedir merged with Culkin to form an Aedir empire. Okay. With the political and military strife now settled, the Aedir Empire would become an economic powerhouse, able to acquire and generate resources that were difficult to obtain in other parts of the world. The empire's trade routes became some of the most lucrative in the world. Yes. Ani Irosio, to se nepřekládá asi. Já spíš myslel, jakoby, jestli si náhodou přeš v hustej, jestli nevíš, jakoby, co to znamená, víš, jakože máš že to vždycky jakoby na základě něčeho, jakoby to počítáš, tak jenom mě zajímalo. Country letter. Ambassador Hilgard, I have maintained order in Paradise for many years. I know this city. When there is a good leader and fair policy, there is peace. But you've allowed the Steel Garrote to terrorize my people, to je to, o čem se bavíme, to sow distrust and fear. I suggest you tighten your Inquisitor's leash, or the embassy might not carry your banners for long. OK, takže mu tady vyhožuju, OK. Přečtu tyhle tři dopísky, čete. Steel Garrote report. We found this book on a public bench. After careful study, our scribe confirmed the handwriting matches the signature found on scrolls of Tyan's Chaotic Orb. Be advised that Tyan is in the Living Lands. As a member of the Circle of Archmagi, he has license to go wherever he pleases. Tyan, the Archimag. We will observe him at a distance, but no one is to engage him. Tyan is either a harmless fool or one of the most dangerous people alive. We simply can take that chance. Takže, okay. Jeden z nejsilnějších kouzelníků. Tady je Empire Part 2 a tady to je... Aedirn explorers returned from over the ocean, telling tales of the ruins and treasures there and of expansive fields that were perfect for growing warlas. The explorers warned the Furkening that the locals were not friendly to outsiders, but the Furkening seen this as an opportunity to extend his empire and secure trade of another continent, send more explorers. Over the next 20 years, the area that would become the Dirwood was investigated, mapped and colonized. Takže začali kolonizovat, expandovat, jasně. The first permanent Aedirn colonial settlements were established. Warlas fields were set up north of the forest in the Dirwood, but between the conflicts with the Gladfantas and the War of the Broken Stone, it was until that Putin imprisoned himself again. To jsou války, které se řeší hrozně v jedničce právě. A je tu více do textu nežli v Elder Scrolls. Myslím si, že asi možná jo, Civerne, protože ono to má fakt jako docela dost velký lore. A hlavně to pochází prostě jakoby, navazuje to na izometrický RPGčka, že jo, dvě velikánský, taky jako pocty všem jiným starším izometrickým RPGčkám, Pillars of Eternity 1, Pillars of Eternity 2 a ty byly plný textu. Tohle je ještě úplný hovno, jo. Takže tak, jako jo, asi jo. Ačkoliv je jen 150 let starý a navíc valiantského původu, irociánský kalendář se nyní používá ve většině Jelenorsí a okolních oblastech. Až donedávna byl standardem kalendář edirský pro svou beznadějnou nepřesností, kterého se lid rád vzdal ve prospěch irociánského. Aha, takže prostě, jo. Takže prostě nevíme, z čeho se to změnilo, ale prostě změnilo, OK. Tak, present itself. Some Ethiopians pilgrims wanting to escape persecution established colonies and warless farming operations in the territory of Red Ceres. Grand Valia on the verge of collapse. The Firkening wanted to ensure this his hold and that will die. Jo. Tohle je dost komplikovaný z té jedničky. Vznikl prostě jako Armed Hadred, který začal vést všechny v tom Deadwoodu, protože ten Firkening na to neměl čas a neřešil to, a tím se začali odtrhávat. Okay. A ten Firkening, to znamená ten král Edir, tak začal vlastně krást artefakty odsud. A to vedlo ke konfliktu, kdy Admet deklaroval nezávislost Deadwoodu na... Jasně. A ubránili si to a tím pádem Deadwood začal být pak samostatný, okay. Iroci vypočítal, že planetě trvá zhruba 334 dní oběhnout slunce, tak vzal 9 měsíců edirského kalendáře a rozdělil je na 16 měsíců každý po 20 dnech, přičemž 4 měsíce dohromady tvoří jednoroční období. Délka jednotlivých měsíců se odvíjí od doby, jakou zabere jednomu z měsíců Balafový oběh planety a dále. Je to celá kniha o ročních obdobích měsících. Ty krávo, to tam je? Ty mazec. Jo, to se řeší ve fantasy světech, jako by v těch hodně vymakaných, jako jo, protože ti to jako musí stát pohromadě. Jako třeba já vymyslel jako svůj vlastní fantasy svět pro kdysi hraní v Krotitelích draků, takový jako fantasy steampunkovej, a taky jsme tam řešili tyhle věci. Dokonce jsme řešili takové věci, jako jak moc ta planeta je vyosená, protože ti to zase ovlivňuje úplně podnebí a tak podobně.
Is it really you?
Cavager Edmund, I know the blighting of the Strangleroot is cause for concern, but I must strongly discourage any trade deal that involves buying additional crops from Fjord. Jo, tak no, vlastně. Aha, tak oni to možná není nakažený, ale oni to jenom nechtějí kupovat, protože tím chtějí jakoby nepodporovat animancery tady, OK. Gezi, čau. Dobrý večer, Respekt, jaký to zatím je. Koukal jsem, že to má docela dobrý recenze, nešťastný čas fan, že to vyšlo tak, když všichni hrajeme Kingdom Come. Myslím si, že to je Gezi, ale hodně jakoby Čechama, jo, jakože v zahraničí ne, je to vlastně přesně takhle, jak říkáš. Je to moc dobrý, dokonce čím díl to hraju, tím je to lepší, si myslím. Začíná to mít jako krásný takový jako příběhový spád, já jsem si tady zasekl jenom na čtení nějakého lore, protože mě baví. A za chviličku to jako posuneme dál, takže to zase bude mít nějaký tempíčko. Ale díky tomu loreu jsem třeba zjistil vlastně opravdu jako co nás vlastně tady na té mapě čeká, jo, a je to super, protože vlastně tady bude více různých druhů jako věcí. Tady máme kyselné jezírko, tady budou nějaký pouště, tady bude nějaký jako zase ziminka, to si myslím, že by mohlo být fakt jako super. Parchanti tam dali predownload, jenže mi stejně musí stahovat znova na Battle.netu. Aha, tak to mě mrzí. Inquisitor, I have been in Emerald Stair long enough to confirm our worst suspicions. The people of Fjord care not for the laws of mortal gods. Animency and folk magic are peddled in defiance of Vedica. Takže prostě no, tam pro ně půjdem a mě budou chtít vykosit. Their crimes are innumerable. Prostě nekromani. All is not lost politically, they are unstable, too focused on themselves to notice us. Or eager hands tightening the Karporace. Okay, chápu. A tady máš dialekty, kámo. Ještě jako severná, aby ses nedivil. Už je tam to možná stáhnout, když to stejně chce prostě před Battle, nevím. Some does not set on the Edin language. this proud language or some derivation of it, operate every corner of Eora. Most of us who speak this wonderful tongue know it is Aedirian, but scholars and those obsessed with correctness often qualify it as modern or contemporary Aedirian. This is to contrast the language you and I speak today with Old Aedirian, the Old Elven language that was spoken in the Aedirian Empire back before the pioneers settled of the Driftwood built their longship. Aha! Že kdysi se mluvilo jakoby veřejně elfsky. Protože Aedir je pozřel, jasně. If Old Aedirian could be considered the mother of the living Aedirian, the language of Hillspeak could be seen as Aedirian cousin. Hillspeak is fading from common use, but many of the elves, especially the older one in the Aedirian heartland, still use this dialect, Hillspeak. Whether you know it or not, if you can read these words, you can understand Hillspeak. It is almost identical to Aedirian, but includes a large vocabulary of archaic words that have fallen out of use in today's Aedirian. When you hear bards sing old Aedirian poems, there are often lines of chorus that sound like melodic nonsense inserted to complete rhymes. These are usually instances of words that are lost from our common languages but still used in Hillspeak, okay. While Hillspeak is familiar to speakers of so-called modern Aedirian, the same cannot be said of our language's predecessors. Old Aedirian is a dead language, spoken by academics, takže Latina, but not used in any major community. Old Aedirian words are often familiar to Aedirian readers, but the words use orthography that has since been abandoned and unfamiliar. Okay, a s jinýma znakama. For example, Old Aedirian contains some diphthongs, to nevím co je, that have no place in the modern Aedirian, as well as few tricky consonant clusters. EA creates an EA sound that sounds like lineal. OK, to už je hodně detailní. No, tak díky tomu všechno ten šarevek ví. Už se nedivím ničemu. Chápu. A to je jeho žurnál, pojďme. Myslím si, že tohle dokážu ocenit jen opravdu zapálení fanoušci, což je od těch autorů moc milé takhle si jich vážit. Jo, myslím si, že máš pravdu, ale myslím si, že to je taková úlitba, myslím si, že to je úlitba lidem jako jsem já, který by si víc přáli Pillars of Eternity 3, Civerne, a vlastně v tom světě vznikl takhle akční RPGčko, tak ti tam pohází tyhle věci a ty jako si je čteš, protože ti to slouží větší imerzi a vlastně víc si užiješ, co je ten svět vlastně takový, jaký je. Ale asi, když to tak říkáš, tak asi jsem divnej, no. I must admit, it is proving impossible to build diplomatic relations. The local have natural distrust of outsiders and we have nothing they want. Inquisitor Lodwin believes that time and pressure will prevail, would that I shared her confidence. Takže ambasador je docela v prdeli, protože s nikým se nemůže dohodnout. But when under her gaze, I feel scrutinized down to the bone, picked apart like carrion and stared through a paper of cold, motionless eyes that have glimpsed too far beyond the veil, reducing me to some depraved pilgrim who prays only for her suffice cloth to work there. No, takže s ní nerad spolupracuje a bojí se jí. There is no shame in being attracted to power. Nevertheless, I must keep such feeling to myself. They pay me. Ne, že to není náhodný hráč, asi moc nebude vyhledávat, prostě to jen proběhne. Já si myslím, že určitě jiní streameři, co to dneska patří, tak to jenom probíhají, no. Ne všichni asi.
I can't believe you're alive. When they dragged you to Liviona's clinic, I assumed the worst. How do you feel?
Jak já se mám, hele? Nevím, co to je Drake i Narat, ale prostě mám tolik síly jako drak.
Not even death can slow you down, I see. But we'll return to the topic of your untimely demise shortly. Our first order of business is your purpose here in the Living Lands. You said you had a missive for me from the Emperor?
Jo, vlastně my máme tady zprávu pro něj.
Very good. I'm eager to see what our Emperor intends. Now, His Majesty names you a loyal servant of the Aedirian Empire. and an extension of the throne's authority. Thank goodness. At least someone understands the gravity of our
jako
situation.
někdo. Oni nás tady musí poslouchat, jo. Protože vlastně jako, my jsme vyslankyně císaře a tím pádem máme strašně velkou moc. Se mi líbí, že většina fantasy prostě začíná, že jako stojíte za hovno, jste sračka, tímto zdravím Jindru a do Kingdom Come jedničky. Což není jako špatně, jo, jenom je toho hodně a pak se jako vylepšíte, tady už tady ne. Hele, my můžeme ukrást prachy. Během toho, co mluví, OK.
You've seen how wild the living lands has become, both in nature and in
Zatím
politics.
co povídá.
Sometimes I think the island has a mind of its own. No sooner had you arrived than you found yourself at the center of our troubles.
Skoro, že mi a znova. Možná to bude mít něco společného s tím, že mám godlike.
At this point, I can't rule anything out. We're in uncharted waters. This embassy has no shortage of political foes, but the dream scourge is what keeps me up at night. You've seen firsthand what it can do in nature. We can't let it reach the cities.
OK. Ale tak to pro mě měl poslat dřív, teď už to možná bude pozdě.
Well, that I had. Inquisitor Ludwig thinks the plague is a distraction. She's more concerned about these local rebels fighting against the Empire.
Začínám mít docela výtrčete. Ta hra navazuje na Pillars of Eternity, nebo se to dá užít i jako standalone titul. Vůbec to na to nějak nenavazuje. Odehrává se to potom, nespecifikováno, kdy je to úplně jiný kontinent, takže jsou tam jako stejné rasy. V tom lóru se asi budeš líp orientovat, pokud hrál jedničky, dvojky, ale všechno ti to vysvětlí ta hra, takže úplně v pohodě. Je to záměr, že jo, od nich, protože jedničku dali dokupy díky Kickstarteru, dvojka považuji za jedno z nejlepších RPGček, ale prostě bohužel byla takovej níž, že nebyla výdělečná. A proto to už vypadalo, že vlastně celý ten svět jako jde do prdele, tak udělali vlastně akční RPGčko a snažili se to udělat jako pro větší masy lidí. Okay. Takže ona řeší hlavně ty rebely, kteří bojují proti Imperiu. Se zeptáme, jestli ty to ne.
At least rebels know the meaning of negotiation and compromise. But a plague kills indiscriminately.
Jasně.
Though, even I must admit the rebels have gone too far. They've sabotaged our work, killed our soldiers, and the final straw, attacked you out in the open.
A proč po mně jdou? Já jsem teď teprve přišla.
All the more reason to strike first, or so the thinking goes.
Whatever their reason, we have to retaliate for the good of the Empire. I won't lie to you, Envoy. Our position is tenuous. If we can't even defend ourselves, how are we to defend the living lands? But defend it we must, for the sake of everyone who calls this island home. Inquisitor Ludwig demands that someone hang for the attempt on your life. These Paradisen rebels must face justice.
Okay, takže jakoby oni chtějí pověsit ty rebely, protože mě to zabilo, OK.
Ludwig goes where she likes, haunting the living lands like a vengeful spirit. She'll reappear when she chooses, and not a moment sooner. Let's make sure to give her some good news for a change.
Not many get a chance to solve their own murder, you know. I know someone who could help. A dwarven tracker named Marius. Kith or beast, there's little he can't find. He's staying at the Grinning Ballarrock, not far from Liviana's infirmary. We just take the main road east to the market, then head down the stairs and cross the canal. Rough part of town, even by the standards of Paradise.
OK. Takže potřebujeme nějaké stopaře.
No, but this is the Paradisan's home. They're very good at hiding here. And Marius is good at finding things that want to remain hidden. Marius is from the Tusks, about the harshest and remotest place the gods ever created, even by the standards of the living lands.
Trickery, lies. The gods did not build this place.
Let's just say no one survives out there without picking up a few skills. The kind we'll need if we're going to find hidden assassins. Especially if they're from the streets of Paradise.
I suggest you recruit as many allies as you can, but choose carefully. They, like you, will represent the Empire. But before we can send you off to parts unknown, we need assurances from the local healer that you're fully recovered. After all, you survived a brush with death. The health of your body is one thing. The health of your soul is another. An unusual course of treatment, but who am I to argue? Remember, the assassin is out there. You have the element of surprise. I suggest you use it. Oh, I wish I could see the killer's face when they realize the hunter has become the hunted. We'll talk more of the Dream Scourge when you return. Until then, Envoy.
How about we start with Marius at the Grinning Balrog? Besides, I could use a drink after all this.
Nádhera, jestli se nepletu, tak máme nový level a můžu si vyupgradit věci. No, nový level, že jo? No jasně, takže nový ability, pojďme. Take damage slow regenerates, což mi pomáhá, ale my hrajeme Rangera a tohle ještě není 5. level. Štajt. Holding your power attack with a bow or gun slows time by 50%. To asi chceme. Jo, nebo tohle dává... Ano, tohle. Ability... Kam to narvu... Čau. A odpověď byla, že to je super, baví mě to. Mám první dojmy na YouTube, takže tak poprosím asi Izu, jestli tady ještě je, jestli nešel spinkat, aby vám hodil link, můžete se na to podívat. Prostě po 20 minutách říkám první dojmy, protože řekněme v 6 hodinách hraní, protože já jsem to hrál vlastně před týdnem, já jsem měl kód dřív. A aktuálně je to tak, že vlastně moje dojmy jsou ještě vlastně o fous lepší, než byly tehdy. Já jsem vlastně nadšenej. Vypadá to, že to je jako RPG heavy. Já jsem se bál té akčnosti a koukejte další quest. Bude fajn.
Wish that sawbones would hurt. Wow, it's really you. I mean, we all heard the Emperor sent a godlike, but I didn't never think I'd get to meet you. You are the envoy, aren't you? I bow, but I think I dislocated my shoulder, and I might have broken some ribs. My brother Cadman and I ran into some trouble exploring a temple north of the city. There's traps and guards. What else? The floor collapsed from under us. He couldn't walk too well, and yet our captain wanted to keep going, so he sent me back for help. We're with a team from the Free Expedition Corps. We've seen a lot. No place like this. I fear for their lives, Envoy.
Takže kde je ten tvůj tým?
They descended into the temple through a route off the Pilgrim's Path, just north of the city. You'll know you're headed the right way when you see trail markers and rock stacks the Pilgrims left behind. We posted a guard out front, Sedgwin. Let her know I sent you, and she'll let you pass.
Okay. Kde jsou ty poutníci, které jsi zbavil?
Well, I gather there were folks who worshipped Aethys.
Oh shit.
And they'd come to this temple from all over the living lands to pray, or be healed, or to ask forgiveness. But Aethys isn't too popular these days, so...
So, most people don't go there
Jsem tady
anymore.
viděl Edéra.
Right. Exactly.
Ještě něco, co mám vědět?
We went there to talk to a man the locals call the Oracle. He's a godlike of Aethys, if you can believe it. The Oracle is said to possess a holy relic that belonged to Aethys, a part of the god's Titan body. This Oracle, I don't know if he's dangerous, but he's supposed to carry a sword full of diamonds. I'll probably never get to see it now.
Jaroslave Kurečko, děkuji moc krát za follow. Vítám tě tady na YouTube. Děkuji moc si toho vážím. Tak jo, já tě zachránit.
Especially my brother, Cadman. Don't forget him. You'll probably find the expedition with the relic we were searching for.
Okay.
Whatever that is.
Teďko ne ono.
Thank you for hearing me out, Envoy.
Protože to je ten titána. A to chápu, ale jakoby zvládneš tady bez toho šervehu, že jo? Není to jako...
Wouldn't want their diplomats going hungry or sober.
To je veliký docela to město. Mně tak přijde teda teď. Pokud mě to zase nestřelí šípem, tyhle, to bych byl fakt už tak trošku nasranej. Underbelly, jo, tady je to ten bordel, tady jsou všichni chudí. Tady docela jsme přišli, jasně.
This may not be the prettiest part of town, but it's got the grinning Balrog.
You saved my life. He would have killed me, and all for a few coins.
Think nothing of it. Any law-abiding citizen would have done the same. Nothing to see here, Envoy. The situation's under control.
Co se tady stalo?
I caught this waste of life mugging a protected citizen. I just did what came naturally.
I thought all Paradisans were protected citizens.
These things happen from time to time. Inquisitor Ludwig understands. I assume you do too.
To jsou takový debilní policajti, ty vole.
So that's how it is. All right then. Whatever you say.
Já jsem se
We
postavený.
aren't exactly trained to de-escalate,
Já jsem
but I'll
teď
tell the
řekla,
others.
ať příště
They'll
nezabijí.
come around. Eventually.
Takhle jsem zapomněl, což je super.
Not sure she'll take it to heart, but even one good example helps.
Paradise is getting more dangerous by the hour.
Bude asi dole, jsem šel možná správně. Ah! To je bordel. Bude hospoda, ne? Jo.
Don't go starting trouble.
So, you're the one they all crow about, eh? Best hunter and guide in all of Dawnshore?
Just Dawnshore? Phew, must be slipping.
You just look like a drunken dwarf to me. Seen 1,000 of you roaming back home in Adir.
Sem bude bitka. Ho hledáme.
The mighty Marius, deep in his cups, ready to take on the deadliest prey, providing they're asleep at the time.
Right. Take another sip of my cool. Rude not to finish a drink someone bought for you.
No wonder you're hiding behind a mug. You're too worried about being polite to survive out there.
The dwarf there is Marius. Best tracker I know.
Třeba Makul. Lambert turn for a casual friend, OK. Víš, jak se ti to líbí? Slyšel jsem, že nejsou ve hře žádné romance. Aha, tak to nevím, Home. Tomu jsme ještě nedošli. To bych se divil u Obsidianu. Možná je všechno dneska. Líbí se mi to, baví mě to moc. A dole teď Izu hodil první dojmy, který jsem dělal na YouTube, tak se ještě tak můžete podívat. Asi to můžeš možná připnout, Izu, ale...
I heard you're from Solace Keep. How great a survivor could you be, hiding behind stone walls all your life?
You don't know anything about me, you Adiran Nimdut. So maybe go back and take another blessed day sip.
But here you are. Tell me, how does one get kicked out of a place that never lets anyone leave?
Duktetragu sakasapt jitule. You wanna talk so much, I'll cut you a second mouth across your throat.
Okay, to mě zajímá. Vyndat. Selský. It's an ancient fortress in Galawain's Tusk and the primary residence of the Wardens. The keep is used to defend the region from outsiders and to mentor volcan. Okay, tak. Tam se jednou dojdem určitě. Ty znáš Mariuse, neměli bychom zasáhnout?
Marius can handle himself. Of course, if you're bored, we could always start something anyway.
Oh, to zvládne sám.
I think this is about to get interesting.
I knew you were blessed in Nimdut the moment I saw you coming. Thought maybe I'd teach you a lesson. So I paid the bartender a few gold to drop a tiny bit of widow's kiss into a cup and serve your drink in it. Cramp should be starting in a few minutes, so if you want to fight, we should go ahead and get started.
On dal nějaký jed nebo něco takového. Jane, Kryšky, děkuji moc krát za follow na YouTube. Čego. To je jed docela dobrý. Jo, počkej, já ho můžu pojebat, ale jedovat je jenom, když dáte do krevního oběhu.
You know your stuff, but I doubt they do.
Envoy, you see? Will you stand by and allow this maniac to poison a fellow subject of the Emperor?
Já jsem přišla mluvit s Mariusem, nevím, kdo jste vy.
Then maybe I should show you who I am. Come on, Maili. Let's show these people why you don't pick fights in the Ballarok.
Okay, let's go.
Like it.
Run now!
Next one's mine.
We got him.
Thanks, Marius.
Ta-da!
Come on, Marcool. You know you love it.
I was just getting warmed up.
Já zbraně stejně cool. A vy jste v klidu, jo? Všechno v pohodě?
About time somebody shut Colburn up.
Jsou rádi.
Whatever happened to Colburn, leave us out of it.
Jasně, nejsem tolik zapletený, chápu. Hele, tady má papání, tomu všechno vezmeme. Co se nám bude hodit?
Migrants' flames. Don't go around picking any more fights. You hear? The patrons like it, but they're not the ones who have to clean up after it.
A trošku se mi tady lepí nohy na zemi, když jste tady naposledy vytřel.
I like you. Takes balls to say that to the ones serving your drinks. Now, what'll it be?
A tady se může používat svev.
As opposed to what?
Nevím, se tam.
Some of my crewmates smoked it when I sailed with the Principe. Figured if any of them ever washed up here, they'd want a place to land. If you want information, I've got it. Just a matter of what you'll pay for it. The locals are worried about the steel garrote coming into town. Whatever Wodica wants, she's bound to find it.
takhle můžu dát.
It's getting more expensive to bring produce in from Fjord. Whatever's going on, that doesn't bode well.
OK, to mi tady dává prostě questy.
I hear there's trouble out in Thirdborn. They're blocking the roads off, and they won't tell anybody why. There's a rumor about a valuable Pargroon stash north of here.
No, hurá,
you didn't hear that from me, though. Some Svef user told me he had a vision out by the eastern ruins.
Vlastně jo, pravda.
Not sure what that's worth
já jsem ukradl stovku, takže to je v pohodě. Hele. Má nějakou takovou dobrou puštičku, toto, koukejte, to já mám toto. To je úplné hovno a on má toto. Sakr blé. To bych tady jako prodal věci, ale nemám žádné, no. No, to se mi líbí, když začne být a tady pistolku, ty vole, no, ta pistolky by mohla nějaký supíš. Kupíme 2 lockpicky, ty vždycky potřebujeme. Ty doporučuji kupovat, čete. A tady pak kecáme teda s tím pošem.
Well, that was something. Haven't been to bar fight in a while. Never really saw the point.
Marius, this is the infamous Adiran envoy. Envoy? Marius.
Well, any friend of Kai's is definitely a person.
Co se to právě stalo, když jsem kecal, to nebyl jedovatý.
You know your poisons. It was a test. That guy's such a nim dude, he thought he was doomed. And he actually believed I could pay the bartender to poison someone's drink. Gods, the taverns in Adir must be rough.
Ok, jsem trošku zklamaná, že se neotrávil.
Well, there's always next time. If I'm not mistaken, you're looking for someone to help find the people who killed you.
Je to tak. Víš, kde můžeme hledat ty lidi, co mě zabili?
I need to see the scene of the crime, over by the town gates. I promise there's something left there we can use to track them.
Tak já vím určitě, že ten, co mě zabil, je z Paradisu.
Then they wouldn't need much of a reason to go after an Adiran official. Plenty of stale water there. Still, it's dangerous to make assumptions based on stereotypes. We need more of a trail to go on.
Jasně.
We'll figure this out, Amaku. Don't you worry.
Děkuji za follow. Děkuji. New companion. Woohoo! Marius. Known as the best hunter and wilderness guide in the Living Lands. Marius has lived all over the Living Lands, but there is no place he truly calls home. Marius uses ancient Pargroon stealth and survival techniques to gain the advantage over his foes, trapping them in gripping vines or disappearing from sight to ambush them with a silent attack. His senses are attuned to detect threats and objects scattered. No to je problém, že my máme teď partu, kde máme jednoho Amawana, který má pistoli velkou, arkebus, nebo jak se to jmenuje, takže jako já. A teď jsme přibrali novýho parťáka do grupy a to je střelec, jako já, který používá jako květenu, která vás sváže jako já a střílí na dálku, jako já. Sense, loot and plants in the Living Lands. A to je dobrý, že možná díky němu uvidíme, kde co je. Což je fajn. Jo, je to tak, protože já teď tady vidím něco. A můžeme jít za vočrem, a nebo nejdřív tady zkoumáme, co se mi stalo. Tam, kde mě sundali. Arkebuze, děkuji. No, takže máme vlastně jako ve skutečnosti mám takový trošičku pocitíček, že máme 3 rangery. nebylo málo. Dobrá mapa tady. Oh shit. Jsem se člověk posral. Musím dalej. Začínám trošku zorientovávat, čete.
Envoy, got a situation over here. Oh, good. You came over. Glad to see you're up and about.
For fuck's sake, can we move this along? I don't have all day.
Můžeme se povím potom, co se tady děje?
The same thing we deal with every day. Most of us are off searching for the ones who attacked you. That leaves us short-handed, so people like her try to sneak in. I caught this one, but I have to check her cart for contraband. There's a lot to dig through.
Okay. Kontraband, jo. Granát, super. To není úplně fajn mít takhle granáty, ne?
Find anything?
No, tak tady ty granáty nejsou úplně legální, ne?
I knew you were hiding something. You'd better have an ironclad explanation for this.
I don't know anything. Someone's trying to set me up.
Thanks for the help, Envoy. I think I can handle it from here. Don't worry, don't worry. Where she's going, she won't be able to blow anything up.
To je to fakt docela nebezpečný. Jsme tu.
Right here. This is where the envoy fell.
If it were me, I'd take the shot from up there above the embassy. Let's see if we can get up there.
To trošku budeme asi parkourovat. Nebo nevím. Budeme parkourovat.
Now, why would I want to leave a mark right by that pile of crates?
Oh, co mluvíš? Či se nahoru dostanu. No, možná to tady jde obejít.
With any luck, your assassin will be as bad at hiding their tracks as they were at making sure you stay dead.
Guess that you're indisciplined.
Take your best shot.
Pardon. Klasika moje. Už to nepůjde. Půjde. To půjde. Jak? Musí, tady je. Jo. Takhle. Takhle, teď to tady přelezu. Vím, že to je. Sem nahoru. Ne. Se takhle. Ne. Do piči. To jste neviděli. To se nepovedlo. Mě probabilitu, co to dělá.
One moment.
On tady dá takový dávky, OK. No, občas je ten parkour trošku nebezpečný. Teď to tady zase posaru. To nemám. Flask of poison, hele, to je ono. This flask is empty, but it reeks of swamp water and rancid berries.
Smells familiar, but I can't place it. Whatever it is, it's not used for game hunting or keeping beasts out of your garden. The apothecary might know more. That's where I'd look.
Seems like a good place to start.
Okay.
It tells us they were hunting you. Whoever did this takes pride in their work. They made sure this stuff would kill you. Go back to the market and up the stairs to the east. You'll see a large building with a big window on top.
The Mermaid's Den. Nice place. We should say hello to Juliana while we're there.
Juliana?
The apothecary is in the back alley. Any luck? We could track down who made this poison. Find your killers.
Okay. Jo. Je to tady veliký čumté. Cool, ne? Zatím se tady úplně ztrácím. Si jak nemůžu představit toho trpaše, jak dělá parkour. To ne, no. Pravda. Ale víš jak, každý umí překvapit. Tak, čete, já to tady dneska skončím s tím, že mám pro vás dobrou zprávu, pokud vás to aspoň trošičku baví. Zítra budu pokračovat. Nebudeme hrát jenom tohle, chci hrát hlavně AVOWED, ale chci ještě hrát i, jmenuje se to Keep Driving, taková jako malá indie hra, taková retro. Tak jako vzpomínky na řekněme, naše dětství. Byla to moc příjemná záležitost, když jsem hrál demíčko, takže se k tomu vrátíme, protože to je plná hra, tak to vám taky chci ukázat, takže zítra od 11 dál, myslím, že třeba do 5 bych tady pro vás byl. Děkuji, že jste se koukali, že jste tady byli jak na Baldur's Gate 3, tak případně někteří z vás tady zvládli urkovat až i sem do večera. Jak říkám, zítra budeme dál pokračovat. Mějte se hezky, hlavně dobrou noc, krásný sny a zítra zase.